Good evening and welcome to the May 26th meeting of the Madison, Indiana Historic District Review Board. My name is Chris Cody, and let the record show that board members Bill Jewell, Jared Anderson, and Happy Smith are present, along with city staff Brenna Haley, and we have a new member of city staff who I believe is going to introduce himself.
Good evening, my name is Chris Layton. I'm the new building inspector and happy to be here. Help out any way I can. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Mr. Layton. We will conduct this meeting by having applicants come forward to the podium. City staff will then review their application as it was submitted to the city. Then applicants will have the opportunity to address the board. Following the applicant's presentation, board members may ask the applicant questions, then the applicant will be dismissed. The public will then have the opportunity to comment on the application, following which the board will deliberate and vote. Please remember that all applications are evaluated solely for their compliance with the Madison Historic District Design Guidelines and restrict your comments to relevant matters. Thank you very much, everyone, for being here this evening. Brenna, please begin with the first application.
So our first application on the agenda is 1229 West Main Street, and that one remains on the table. So our next one will be City of Madison project. A request to build an amphitheater in Bicentennial Park at 101 East Fox Street.
Good evening, board. My name is Tony Steinhardt, Deputy Mayor and Director of Economic and Redevelopment. Tonight we're here and happy to present to you a project that was in the Madison Destination Plan and has received great support from our region through our Regional Development Commission and has been receiving good comments from the committee that was put together to review both the design as well as the needs for the professional tours. So the goal of this project was to develop an amphitheater for 2026 standards and expectation for both patrons and performers, and to enhance the accessibility and safety of the park for all. We wanted to develop.
Let the record show that board member Jed Skillman has now joined us.
We wanted to develop a theater that was flexible for both local as well as the national acts, and we wanted to provide a facility that was as transparent as possible for the neighborhood and the citizens of Madison on the other 340 days, pick a number, whatever number that is, when it's not in use. This is intended to be a park that's engaging throughout the entire year. We think the design will open up new opportunities for uses in the park, as well as give amenities to, again, those patrons and performers that expect in 2026 for acts. So at this time I'd like to introduce Jeff DeSmit to talk through our design work from Studio Axis and answer any questions you have on the
Good evening. Make sure this comes up here. It's just not going over. A lot of times it's the connector piece. Let's see. Yeah, will the gray one reach? Oh, we're on wheels. There we go. Perfect. Thanks. My name is Jeff DeSmit with Studio Access in Indianapolis. I'm happy to be here to kind of walk you guys through where we're at from a current design standpoint on both the stage frame and the accessory building, and then more than happy to get your feedback and comments. So just quickly to kind of walk you through from an orientation standpoint the updated site. So one of the things that we really looked at in kind of reimagining what this would be is how can we provide some additional features for the park, upgraded restrooms, upgraded electric and audiovisual infrastructure for the actual stage, to really enhance what the city can do from a weekly and monthly use standpoint without the need to kind of rent and bring in a bunch of extra equipment. So part of that research was really looking at how do we center the stage building, get it closer to where a future building might want to go, and in looking through all of those different aspects, it ended up to where kind of centering the kind of stage and the main viewing area kind of between central and west seemed to be the right move, so that we could keep a building that was still close enough to be able to provide that infrastructure, but along West Street, out of the kind of visual line of sight that you would see from First Street or even from Vaughn Drive as you're looking back up. So in this site plan here, you'll see that there's a revised kind of parking layout up here at the north end. One of the things that this does is kind of reestablish that neighborhood edge. This is the only block along First where the sidewalk is not continuous from corner to corner. The parking here right now is front to end directly from the street, so that was one of the kind of items that we looked at. The other thing that this will do is it will allow us to get parking kind of inside what we would consider a secure kind of ticketed zone for larger events, but also give the ability to park food trucks and those sorts of things off of the street, so that they have less impact from a pedestrian standpoint for other events. As part of this, we would then reestablish kind of the brick kind of pilaster system that is currently around the park, and the current concept essentially reuses about 75% of the existing pilasters that are there in their exact locations, and then where we have to make adjustments from a sidewalk standpoint or a parking standpoint, we would essentially rebuild and kind of duplicate those to kind of fill that in to connect it all the way around the entirety of the park. As we work our way down from north to south, you'll see some kind of open lawn areas. The main accessory building here on the side, this has a couple of things. It has area for concessions, an area for storage and janitorial, a much larger restroom block. There's right now 8 fixtures per side in the main block, and that is before you count in a family restroom, and then 2 additional handicap accessible restrooms, as well as storage space for things that the city might own, and then also a large electrical and AV room component to kind of support everything that's happening on there. And then as you work your way toward the south, then you have the actual stage itself. It actually has a similar, from a concrete pad standpoint, a similar footprint to what's actually down there now, just reorientated to kind of be on this central access. So as I go to the stage frame, so this would be the front or the north elevation. One of the things that we kept hearing when we were looking at all the comments, kind of discussing with all the groups, is how do we provide something down here that meets and checks these boxes from a performance standpoint, but also doesn't block the view of the river, right? Because as Tony mentioned, and is what has been on the forefront of our thought the entire time, is what is this going to be the other 340 days of the year that it's not a performance event, right? So what this does is accomplish a few things. So we've raised the actual stage elevation itself is at 5 feet to get that up so that groups don't have to bring in a separate stage. It provides easy load in and load out from an access standpoint. And then we've paired that with what we're kind of calling a stage frame or a proscenium that allows groups to hang speakers. There'll be permanent speakers and lighting that the city can use, or that other smaller events whether it's a church or a graduation or movie night in the park. Everything will be there for them to just come in and use those items. From a material standpoint, we've really tried to keep it simple and try to kind of mimic and respect what's around there. So really there's three main materials on here. It's brick, some limestone accents, and then steel. I did bring material samples for what we're currently thinking. So essentially two different types of brick. There's both a kind of red, kind of very standard kind of terracotta color, as well as more of an almond, which is what we're using as kind of what you would consider the water table or the lower section. You'll see in the renderings there's kind of a two-tone look, and one of the things that we're considering right now is that instead of doing an alternate color of brick, is using a secondary texture as the kind of accent piece for some of those areas. You'll also see that the specific size. So from a constructability standpoint, one of the things that we are trying to really think about is cost. And what this is a full, it's a clay product, so an actual brick product, but it's a structural brick, so that we don't have to do a CMU wall with a brick veneer. So it eliminates the need to have to do a cavity wall system, which saves cost. So essentially all of these walls around the exterior would be the structural walls for that, and then we would have a steel kind of gable frame at the top. This one is a little bit elongated, so it feels more like, from a distance, it feels more like a Norman from a length standpoint. So it's 4 by either 6, 8, 10, 12 deep, depending on the structural needs, and then 16 inches long. So along this kind of north stage view, you'll see that we have brick. There are some accents here, as well as kind of a limestone colored, what I like to call like a tiered step seating, and then the steel stage frame that comes up and around the top. The detailing for the stage frame and the detailing for the steel that's on the building is really the effort will be there to really try to make it look more like actual like rivets, gusset plates, those type of things, not just simple welds, to really kind of tie into some of the more kind of older and historic steel kind of frame structures and crane structures and bridges that are in Madison. This is a view from the side. So you'll see here, as well as the main stage frame, there's a secondary piece here that kind of protrudes from the back from a structural standpoint. It provides some additional anchor points, and then also there is a canopy out of the front. Obviously, a canopy of this height is not necessarily intended to provide rain, cover, but what this does is it gets additional rigging points for the performers and those acts, as well as permanent lighting and speaker hang locations that will be out there 365 days a year for the city's use. Next, I'll go to the building. So we have both the north and the east view here. So this would be looking from the north. Main things that you'll see here, again, there's the terracotta one here is the one that you see in the center, and that alternate kind of striked or raked texture, as well as the lighter color, which is really more focused as kind of at that traditional limestone or cobblestone base, and then limestone accents for the windowsills, as well as aluminum storefront, and then a standing seam metal roof. You'll see that the site does step quite a bit. One of the interesting things here is we essentially have 3 different grade levels. So as the building kind of steps down the hill, you'll have storage and concessions up here on the north end. The entrance to the restroom block is here at the middle, and then as you get down to the bottom side, storage and the 2 additional restrooms down here at the lower plaza level. Right now we're again just using brick, and then kind of these steel accents that extend out, both a kind of 10-foot completely covered canopy, and then that steel structure is then extrapolated out to form kind of a shade structure on both the north and south ends. Obviously, the west view looks very, very, very similar. You can see against the south view, essentially this is just kind of a tucked in vestibule for both storage doors and the two unisex restroom doors. And then providing kind of these kind of stripped, more transom windows along both the long elevation sides to get natural light into the restroom blocks. I have a couple views here from exterior standpoint, so you can see this is that south end as you're kind of coming from the stage, walking up. Again, a lot of the building placement, the different levels for the plazas and those sorts of things is really all centered around accessibility, right? How can we make sure that the entirety of this park is accessible, which it isn't currently today. This is more from that kind of top plaza area. You can kind of see the length of the building as it goes down the side, and then the actual stage frame here off to the right. And then we have a view of, a sample view of just a small performance event. And again, one of them where all of the infrastructure that's up here would be owned by the city or a permanent piece, and wouldn't have to be brought in, as compared to something like a Unbroken Circle or a Rooster Tail, where they would have a much kind of larger package from the current things that they rent now. They would bring out and be able to place on that stage and have that stage platform ready for them. So I'm more than happy to take any questions that you may have.
Thank you. Are there any questions for the applicant from the board?
Curiosity here, when you on the stage with the structure for lighting,
Yes.
you got your cursor right up at what I'm talking about. From front to back of that structure, how wide is that?
The actual footprint of the physical stage itself?
No, the lighting grid.
Oh,
When you-
here at
yeah.
the top. Yeah, so from the actual stage frame piece itself, it extends out about 15 feet. If you were looking at it from kind of this side, from the edge here out to this kind of outer lip is about
Okay.
15 feet.
So it's 15 feet from the front of the awning that hangs out. What about to the back of that, right there? What
Yeah,
is that?
It's
the
roughly
whole
the
thing.
same. So that kind of total depth from here to here is roughly 30 feet.
Okay. And the height is 50 feet to the top?
Yeah, so 50 feet to the top. So if we were looking at it, obviously the zero elevation right of the actual lower plaza, 5 feet to the top of the stage. The rigging height, or kind of the lowest portion of this proscenium arch, would be 40 feet from grade, or 35 feet from the actual stage proper. And then the top of the structure is roughly 50 feet. Yes.
Okay. Did you consult with any stage lighting people when you?
Yes, so we have Theater Projects, which is a stage
Okay.
consultant, and we're working with them on all of the details for stage lighting, sound, all the electrical and AV requirements and all of that.
Did anybody mention that you may want light out in front of the stage? I mean,
Yeah, so-
off to the side, but,
Yeah, so there are a couple different ways that those things are being considered, whether it's having, lighting very far out of the very edge of that canopy itself.
no, I'm talking about like from the front of the stage, 50 feet out,
Yeah.
60 feet out.
Yeah, or
And-
the opportunity for them to either bring in temporary or pole mounted additional lighting from a front artist
Right.
standpoint.
So that's all been planned for.
Correct. Yeah, we're currently within the design stages to work through all of those details. Correct.
Gotcha.
Thank you, Jed. Are there any other questions from the board?
Yes. Go ahead.
The current bathroom building is going to go away, and this
That-
new bathroom building is coming in its place?
That is correct. Yes.
And how do they compare in size, the old bathroom building versus the new bathroom building?
Yeah. So I believe, correct me if I'm wrong, the existing restroom building has 4 restrooms per side. Yeah. So essentially, more than doubling the existing capacity. This has 8 per side for the main blocks, and then there's a family restroom, and then 2 additional unisex restrooms that are on the south plaza.
So at least twice the size of the old building, maybe
Correct.
more?
I would say from a footprint standpoint, yes. One of the key considerations in working through all of this is providing the permanent audiovisual and electrical components that are out of the floodway. So the current building where it sits about halfway within the floodway, and the other half is within the floodplain. And so one of the main considerations here is that we have to get the building far enough to the north that we can provide all of this permanent electrical and audiovisual equipment without the risk of it being flooded. Yeah, and I think, same thing for the stage, right? So, all of we've received all the kind of the artist writers, which are the technical requirements that all they have from both Unbroken Circle and from Rooster Tail, and then also our theater consultant has hundreds of writers that they can go back and kind of view and reference on to really make sure that the electrical requirements, the audiovisual requirements, all of that stuff is taken care of, so that there's not anything missing when kind of the first act shows up.
Thank you. Are there any additional questions from the board? Thank you very much. The applicant can be seated. Do we have any comments from the public?
You want me to unplug and take this off, or you want me to leave it up?
Let's see. It sounds like we don't have any comments from the public, so you can have a seat or stand there if you'd like. It's now time for the board to deliberate. I, for one, am incredibly grateful to the city for pursuing this project and for bringing this excellent upgrade to us. It is not an easy thing to develop projects of this scale, and given our city's status as Indiana's Music City, I think that upgrades to this park and the building of this amphitheater are very welcome and appropriate. I don't want to monopolize the conversation. Do any other board members want to chime in? I, for one, think that this is a very well thought out, extensively studied proposal.
I really like how it's see-through. We can see the river through this stage, and I think that's a real important thing. That river is a big thing to our community, and to block it off, I think, would be a mistake. I think you did a great job on design.
Any other comments from the board? Does anyone have any concerns about it? I mean, the only concern that I have right now is that we have non-ADA accessible facilities and things are getting flooded. So I think this is actually fixing concerns that I have about what's going on down there. Well, if there's no further discussion to be had, let's have a roll call vote for this one, Brenna. Well, first I need a motion.
I move that we grant a COA to the City of Madison based on the preceding discussions.
Do we have a second?
I'll second it.
Okay, Chris Cody,
Approve.
Happy Smith,
Approve.
Bill Jewell,
Approved.
Jared Anderson,
Approve.
Jed Skillman.
Approve.
Thank you very much.
While I've got you real quick, we need to approve the minutes from the last meeting.
Oh, we should have handled that up front.
Yeah.
Okay.
So,
So, do I have a motion has everyone reviewed the minutes from the last meeting, and does anyone have a motion that they can put on the table to approve them?
I have a motion to approve the minutes of last month's meeting.
I second that.
All right, all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? None. Okay, what's the next application, Brenna?
next up is 820 Walnut Street. The main structure here is a contributing structure, a federal style built in 1840, and this request is to place a 10 by 20 utility shed at the rear of the property.
Thank you very much. Brenna, was a site plan submitted with the application to show where the shed will go on the property?
This is all that we have. We do not have one that has changed with the now 14 feet. So that has been extended down.
So we don't have a drawing that reflects an accurate location of this?
We do not.
That's going to be, that's challenging. So can you indicate on this image where roughly in relation to the front building, 14 feet off, as you're describing it, is, and where the shed would be placed? Mm-hmm. So can you, I just want to have something indicated on the record that we saw where on this image the building's going to be placed. Okay, right where that black blob is.
And that's what you said, 14 feet back from the alley?
14 feet off the Saddle Tree,
Okay.
and then there's property right here, instead of 3 feet, I have 7 feet. So it would be 7 feet off this alley, 7 feet off the river line, and 14 feet off the beach.
So you're centering it on your property in the back, yeah.
Giving everyone on each side
Okay.
of the
Right.
Thank you for that description. That helps, given that we don't have a site plan. On the sheet of shed options that you showed, is there one in particular that you've picked out from a design standpoint? There are just 3 different ones.
The mustard colored one.
That one? Okay.
On the left.
Okay.
What siding and roofing are you going to have them put on this?
They come with a metal roof, and they come with that siding is like a hardy board. And these are already pre-built. The company's there on 62, by 256. And I've had one that put on one property at 1106 Street. And this company places these in Madison all the time. But like I say, it's already pre-built. They do it within code. And it is nice looking sheds.
Thank you. Are there any more questions for the applicant from the board? Thank you. Is there any public comment? All right, hearing none, let's begin board deliberation. The application's obviously deficient in terms of what was submitted. It would be really helpful to have a site plan so we don't have to go through the exercise that we just did. But I do feel as though the applicant has now accurately described on the record where the building will be located, and identified exactly which one he wants to build. And I don't have a problem either with the siting or the design.
I like that the applicant talked to the neighbor and has taken the traffic pattern and the truck drivers into consideration.
I
We're
agree
usually-
with both of you.
We're usually very concerned about having site plans, but we all looked at the property, and this being a prefabricated shed, if there's a problem, you can pick it up and move it a couple feet, right? There's no reason you can't do that. So I'm okay with it.
Does anyone have any concerns about this application?
I do. I'm concerned about your roofing and about the siding that's on it. The roofing looks like it is probably drawn as barn siding, basically, and you'd have T111 siding on the building, or at least that's how it's drawn. Is there any chance that you could convince these folks to put a standing seam roof on like we do in other properties, and possibly a lap siding? Any chance of that? Yeah, if you'd like to come up, please.
I can check that. The roof is metal roof.
Right, but it's a barn siding roof, and you don't see a barn siding necessarily as being all that appropriate.
Okay, so, what are you suggesting?
A standing seam roof and they're readily available. A lot of them are going into town now. And say HP or LP smart siding, something like that, a lap siding that would have more of the feel of the historic area.
I can look into it.
Yeah, Bill, that's a really good catch on the roof materials. I think that would be an easy change that would make a big difference.
Should this be conditional on that?
Well, that's for the board to discuss. Yeah, I think the question is whether those are both excellent suggestions, Bill, and very correct points. I guess the question is whether this could be a conditional approval or an approval with them as mere suggestions. How does the rest of the board feel?
I would be concerned solely because these are pre-constructed buildings, so I'm not sure these people are going to go out of their way to put a standing seam roof.
I don't know why they would have a problem with the roof. You know, they're going to put metal on one way or another, standing seam, barn roof, all goes on the same way. I could deal with it if we did have a standing seam roof, and I could probably live with a T111 pattern siding because it is a shed and in the back.
That seems like a good compromise, and I do think that the roof is going to be more significant in terms of the material affecting the overall appearance. Would anyone be willing to make a motion to that effect?
I didn't very much each.
So based on the preceding discussion, we issue a COA for the property at, what is it?
820 Walnut.
820 Walnut, conditional on a standing seam roof. And what kind of siding did you say?
Stock T111.
Stock T111 siding. Do I hear a second?
I second.
Let's do a roll call vote for this one since it's a conditional approval.
Sorry, who seconded?
I did.
Okay. Okay, Chris Cody,
Approve.
Kathy Smith,
Approve.
Bill Jewell,
Approve.
Jared Anderson,
Approve.
Jed Skillman.
Approve.
Thank you very much. All right. Brenna?
Next up is 526 Jefferson Street. This is a contributing structure built in 1835. It is part of a series of 5 row houses. This is zoned historic district residential, and this request is to build a 21.5 foot by 36.5 foot garage.
Thank you.
Good afternoon.
Oh, wait a minute, where are we?
I believe the measurements, you've been resubmitted a different measurement of 20.5 feet by 32 feet.
Possibly, was that submitted today?
No, I think she submitted it. Sorry, I'm not exactly what day it was submitted. Yes, I'm sorry, it was submitted today. I do have the plans here, updated plans, if that helps. I thought she already set up the updated plans too, I'm sorry.
Yeah, we need to see
Sure.
what's being proposed for approval. But if you're saying 32 by 20.5, that's the dimensions of what's on the screen right now, so maybe.
Yep. Okay,
All right.
sorry, that's correct.
Okay. Well, please tell us about your proposal.
We'd like to build a new garage in the back of 526, leaving, there's some room between the building, I'm sorry. It will leave between the existing structure with the back porch, it'll leave 20 foot 9 inches. And then from the property line, which is the alley behind, it will leave 25 feet off the back of the alley. We're proposing to do the windows, there's one window beside the man door that would be aluminum clad wood window. The entry door would be fiberglass. The siding would be LP smart siding. And
roof would be a hidden seam, or a standing seam with hidden fasteners. And then the garage door would be a carriage-style garage door. When I say style, it'll be a carriage look, not be an actual roll-up door, but it'll have the hinges on it and handles on it to make it look like it's a carriage-style door.
Are there any questions from the board for the applicant? Brendan, can you pull back the drawing back up? I just was wondering about the total height. I can't read that number there.
That's 16 feet,
16 feet?
and that's a shed-style roof. So there's an existing garage on the next side of that will start the shed style off of that garage and come down, which will match what's on the actual house itself.
That's very helpful
Yes.
context, especially given the
Yes,
0-foot
That's why we
setback.
did it that way, because that way
Okay.
it looks the same with the house. The actual roof on the house has where you can expose fasteners. When we do this, it would be hidden fasteners. So not so much a barn look to it.
Thank you for that clarification.
Thank you.
Any other questions from the board for the applicant? Oh, thank you very much. Is there any public comment? All right, hearing none, let's move on to board deliberation.
Actually, Chris, if you don't mind, I'm not sure the correct place to put this. I like your garage very much, and I will vote in support of it. I just wanted to talk to you just for a minute about your amazing house. There are not any other 5 house blocks in Madison. There's 4 house blocks, 3 house blocks, but no other 5 house blocks. This was built in 1835, and it's known as the McLean block. So here's your whole block of houses here. And, we can look at some of the other structures and guess about, how these 5 buildings looked together back in 1835. So here is a completely fantasized picture of the buildings with the 6/6 windows, with the transoms over all the doors, and it is just a unique block. We don't have anything else like it in town. And Madison, is unlike other historic districts in the country. We have preserved our smaller and medium-sized buildings. Other towns, they save all the big ones. Everybody wants to save the big ones, but everybody doesn't always save the littler ones. And so we have such a complete, intact situation here. I think you can think of your house, your own building. Each house here is its own distinct unit, but this also is a whole streetscape, all of these 5 buildings together. And so I just want to thank you so much for putting investment and attention into this magnificent building. There's so many signs here of high-quality construction. The entire 5-unit block is Flemish brick bond, which is high-quality brick construction. It's not common bond. There's neat brick things over the windows, sort of flat arches, if you will, over every single window in the whole structure. I mean, it's a magnificent set of buildings. I just want to congratulate you on your amazing building and this whole amazing block, and just thank you for putting the attention that it needs, because it's been a sorely neglected block. So that was a little bit of a transgression, but
This will
thank
be
you.
the second one that the owner, Mark Prickett, has done. We did one on Walnut Street. I'm sure you guys are familiar with the one we did on Walnut Street and this one. So I believe with this block here, the one on the very end has already been redone also, and then we're doing the other end. Hopefully somebody will do something with the ones there through the middle too.
Right, no, over time, they've been changed, and some of them have these entranceways, that was a new thing. So I must say that, Link Luddington, who's I think here tonight, he was the one who helped me understand all of these neat historical features of this very cool block. So, anyway, thank you very much.
No problem. Thank you.
Well, Happy, it is never a procedural transgression to point out very good news, so thank you so much for sharing. And
Thank you.
Thank you again. Board deliberation. Does anyone have any concerns about the proposed project? If not, does anyone have a motion?
I do.
Oh, you do have some concerns, Bill.
I don't have concerns. I
Oh, you have a motion?
Yeah.
Oh, even better.
I move that we accept the application that's been presented for 526 Jefferson to build a new garage with standing seam roof and LP smart siding. Do I hear a second?
Bill, I think that was the last one that we were talking about, the
Excuse me.
standing seam roof and the LP smart siding. I think that's inherent in the application, so we just need a motion to approve the application as proposed.
I move to accept the application as it's proposed.
I second.
Thank you. All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Hearing none. Thank you. Okay, Brenna, on with the next one.
Okay. Next up is 205 St. Michael's Avenue. This structure was built this year, 2026. It is zoned residential medium density, and this request is to build a 12-foot by 16-foot deck off of the back of the house and to place a 10 by 12 garden shed in the backyard.
Hello, Mr. Taylor, welcome back.
Well, thank you for having me back. So this is the request. The house is almost done, and I have got approved for the fence for the back by the alley. But before I do the fence, I like to get that garden shed in there first, and it's LP siding. The picture has metal, but I'm going to put shingles on it, and it's a 10 by 12, just to store a bunch of garden stuff, and then the deck, just a regular 10 by 12 deck on the back. This is just an example. It might change a little, but not too much on that, but it's going to be coming out of the sliding of the back door, and just enjoy some cooking out. So if there's anything else I need to bring up, or if you all have any questions, just feel free to ask me.
Well, I think that you benefit from us having reviewed the plan for your house and understanding the property and its context. So does anyone on the board have questions? Thank you.
So out of curiosity, so the shed itself is 12 foot tall, correct?
Tall?
Yeah.
I didn't get that information.
Okay.
I don't believe.
That's not the end of the world. I was just
Yeah.
curious. And then how tall will your fence be?
Well, I'd like to have it a little taller, but I think I heard it can't be taller than 6 feet.
6 feet is the max.
Okay.
Because the side of the fence between my neighbors, we put that up, so it's going to be about almost the same height.
Okay.
So, but the fence is already approved.
Sure.
On that. Yeah.
Yep.
Are there any other questions for the applicant from the board? Is there any public comment? Thank you. Hearing none, let's move on to board deliberation. I agree with the staff recommendation here.
Yeah, I agree as well.
Does anyone have any concerns they'd like to bring to our attention? Hearing none, would anyone like to make a motion?
I move the Madison Historic Board of Review approve the deck and the shed being proposed for, sorry, forgot the address. 205 St. Michael's, as presented.
I second that.
All right, all those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Hearing none. Thank you.
Okay, next up, we have 317 West 3rd Street. This is a contributing structure. It is a Federal and Italianate style duplex double house built in 1845, zoned historic district residential, and this is a request to place a black vinyl privacy screen along the property line.
Thank you, Brenna.
Hi, my name is Sandy Deardorff. This is my husband Jim, and we own the property here at 317. I prepared a statement which I'm going to give he's going to give each of you a copy, and I'm going to read it because I want to address the issues that were presented to all of you. So we are requesting approval of the privacy screen that we have attached to the existing wrought iron fence that was already in place. The existing fence remains in good condition as we did not remove or alter this historic fence. Rather, we attached a black privacy screen panels to the fence using removable fasteners. To provide additional support for the panels, black painted 2 by 2 inch boards were attached horizontally to the existing fence, and the panels were secured with black zip ties. The privacy screen panels are approximately 48 inches by 72 inches high. The installation is reversible and could be removed without damage to the wrought iron fence. The purpose of the installation was to provide privacy, not to replace the existing fence. We understand that concerns have been raised regarding sections 20.8 and 20.9 of the Historic District Design Guidelines regarding contemporary materials and alterations to existing fences. However, we respectfully request that the board consider the following. The historic wrought iron fence remains intact and visible. The privacy screen is an attachment to the existing fence rather than replacement of the historic feature. Similar contemporary fencing materials, including vinyl fencing, already exist throughout the historic district. Several white vinyl fences are visible in public view within the district. In addition, there are examples of other non-historic screening materials being used on residential properties. We have provided photographs of some examples. The privacy screen is black in color and visually unobtrusive. It was selected to blend with the existing black wrought iron fence rather than draw attention to itself. The screen addresses a legitimate privacy concern. Without the screen, there is a direct line of sight from neighboring properties, the public sidewalk, and passing traffic into our porch area and into portions of our kitchen and dining room. The privacy screen allows us reasonable enjoyment of our home while maintaining the existing historic fence. In addition, we ask the board to consider the personal circumstances that make the privacy especially important at this time. Approximately 5 months ago, I was diagnosed with lymphoma. I'm currently facing treatment decisions that may include chemotherapy. As my family and I navigate this difficult period, maintaining a greater degree of privacy at our home has become particularly important to our comfort and to our well-being. The screens help provide that privacy while allowing the historic wrought iron fence to remain in place. We respectfully request that the board approve the installation as a reasonable accommodation that balances the goals of historic preservation with the practical privacy needs of Jim and myself as homeowners in the Madison Historic District. We thank each of you for your consideration.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Do any members of the board have questions for the applicant?
Well, the fence is already up. Does that mean? The fence has already been erected.
The screens are already installed.
Okay, so you
But,
did that without approval. You just went and did it, right?
We did not know that we needed approval because we were just putting it along the fence line. A
Okay.
complaint was filed, so we were advised that we needed to get a certificate of appropriateness. So that's why we're doing this backwards.
Uh-huh.
Is the privacy screen, does it have fence posts going down into the ground, or is it sort of a more temporary kind of
It's a more
thing?
temporary, does not have anything, the screens are sitting level on the ground.
And they're just attached to the metal historic fence behind it?
Yes, and that is with a black zip tie. So unless you get very close to it, you don't see the zip ties at all. So it's temporary. It was just to provide, it also is slotted so that there's still airflow through it. There still is some view through the fence, but it provides a level of privacy.
Is
A
it
small
known
level.
on which property the historic fence lies? Like whose property the historic fence is?
From our records and from everything that we have seen, this fence line has been there since 1990. I have photos, not with this particular wrought iron, but photos back when Evan Sommerfeld owned the building, owned the home. He actually owned both of the houses at that time. So there is a fence row. So the metal fence along the line there butts up to a cedar fence that goes just past, there's a shed there, goes just past the shed all the way to the alley. So we have a complete fence line all the way along there. So all we have done, instead of changing or moving anything, or even extending the cedar fence, we've added a privacy screen to give us a little bit more privacy.
Thank you.
Are there any additional questions from the board?
Yeah, looking at it from your side,
Yeah.
it's a nice background to your plants.
It really is.
It makes a nice, clean background. I don't know that it should stick out beyond there's a building over there. If you look at the picture on the left, you see on the right side, there is all the way to the border, there's a building there. So it looks like about 2 of the panels stick out beyond that.
That is a shed that belongs to the neighbor property.
Okay.
So so that shed doesn't really block the 2 windows and the door that go into our kitchen and our dining room. And it doesn't block, this view here is from the sidewalk, walking towards our home. So, and another thing that we did was we stopped the screen right at the edge of our porch, because we weren't trying to block the whole view of the house or be obtrusive in any way. We wanted to just give a little bit of privacy to that lower porch, because we are out there a lot, and because you can see from this view directly into that first window there is my dining room, the door, and then there's a long kitchen window that goes from ceiling to floor. So that's why we extended to where it is.
All right. How long have you lived in this house?
We purchased the house in 2016, July of 2016. So right at 10 years. When we bought the home, it's completely overgrown. We have 3 gas light fixtures. Couldn't even see those. Everything, there were vines growing into the windows. We've had to replace several in the back with wood-clad aluminum windows, or aluminum-clad wood windows. But we've been working on the house for 10 years, and the reason we decided to add the screens this year is only for some health reasons and just wanting a little bit more privacy at this time.
I'm not being argumentative here. We have a similar situation in our house, and we use curtains, because our dining room looks across an alley into a not really well fixed up house next door, and we just pull the curtains closed when we're sitting there. That's all. That's all I have to say.
We do have window shades on all of our windows, and we do close them typically at night. But if we do have company or family over for dinner or something, I don't normally close everything up while we're there. And then sitting on the porch outside, we have a beautiful side porch and love spending time out there, and it just affords us a little bit more privacy.
I have no more comments right at the moment.
Are there any further questions from the board? Thank you. Is there any public comment?
I'd just like to point out in favor of the couple here that in our UDO there is nothing specifically pertaining to privacy fences, or screens rather, only fencing, which this is not a permanent structure. So I believe they have that going for it, and I hope you guys approve it for them.
Thank you.
Mike Pittman, 420 Elm Street. It's different. I'm usually on that side of the dais. Sandy might be the same. I'd like to tell you about that fence that's covered up. That fence was covered up. It was, Linda and I bought our house back in the last century. Hard to believe it's the last century. In the late 1990s, mid-1990s. There were 2 gentlemen on our street. Some of you may have heard of them. Evan Summerfeld and Evan Summerfeld, and it'll come to me.
Happens to me too.
No, Arliss Helton. Arliss Helton worked for Duke, and of course Evan Summerfeld, if you knew him, he had a wonderful historic store downtown, and
he searched the world for different antiques and things, and we have several in our house. But from the standpoint of Arliss Helton, Arliss came to us as we were rehabbing our house at 420 Elm Street, and he basically said, "Hey, Mike, all the houses on 3rd Street on the south side between here and the fountain have beautiful historic iron fences." He said, "I got one for you, but you got to buy it." But Evan's trying to buy it too. So, and Evan's our neighbor too. So, I mean, it was kind of a race here. So, Linda and I were going to Louisville to get the wrought iron fence. And lo and behold, we were able to purchase it. But we didn't have enough fence. So, Evan, being the gentleman he was, said, "Well, I can get you some other type fences along the sides and back and forth." So I'm pretty emotional about that, and I feel very bad for Sandy's situation. I think there's another way to accommodate what she needs with another addition to her home that wouldn't cover up that wonderful fencing we have and everyone can see. Believe it or not, right now, those of you who went by the house probably couldn't see back between the houses because my wife's a prolific gardener, and Sandy's got some beautiful stuff, and everything is grown up, so it's very difficult to see. But in the summertime, when the leaves come off the trees in the winter, it's nice to be able to see that iron fence and see the beauty of it, as well as the iron fence we have around the front. I have some pictures. The deer doors have been very active in modifying fencing on our in between our homes. That is the wood fence that Sandy talked about. That you can see that the wood fencing has been moved and changed. This is the way the plastic fence is attached to the iron fence. Those of you that know wood and know if it's not painted and treated, it's going to rot. I expect that will not last. These are the installations of the fence as you walk back into the area of Sandy's house. You'll notice that they're not aligned and there's missing screws. This is a picture of what you can see without the leaves on the tree. Well, I understand Sandy's need for privacy. I had a very ill wife for a number of years. Unfortunately, she's probably hopefully looking down on me right now and saying, "What are you doing up there, dummy?" But she had a rough go of it too, and I understand the need for privacy. But I also understand the need for us maintaining the block we have right there on Elm Street and also West 3rd Street. There's not a day goes by that we don't get somebody stopping. In fact, we had some people from St. Joseph's, Michigan. We had some gentlemen from Champaign, Illinois. They stopped and talked to us for 20, 25 minutes. Linda's a great ambassador for this town. She does a lot of good things. My fear is that this fence won't be temporary. I think it should not be approved, and I think there are other alternatives for covering that up. This fence was installed, I think, in about 3 days. So those of you who know fencing, you don't install a fence in 3 days if it's going to last. So, gentlemen, I urge you not to approve this application. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Mr. Pittman. Is there any additional public comment?
I have a question about one of your pictures here. So this one here, is this the wood section of the fence and how it's attached to the iron fence? It's not the privacy screen, it's not the middle black privacy screen.
Excuse me, that fence is not attached, it's the wooden fence, is not attached to the wrought iron fence. We added that because that was a direct view right into my kitchen. So all we did was extend the wooden fence, because the iron fence butts up to the front of the fence backs up to the back pillar of gap between the shed on their property and the garage where our fence starts. So it was a big 6-foot gap that was directly into our porch. So, and we did that several years ago. I would say 2020, 2021, something like that. We've never heard a word about that. We've never heard any complaint or any issues at all about that, having that particular piece. And that was completely out of view from the street.
Okay, thank you for that clarification. So no further public comment, leaves us with board deliberation and discussion.
I could see the petitioner's point of view from the point of cancer treatment. And I could understand the need for privacy. But I also see the next door neighbor's point of view. Would we be able to do this if we say you can leave the fence there for 18 months or something, a definite period to get her through the treatment, and then the fence comes down? Does that make sense?
Yeah, I understand. I don't think that we can put conditional time limits on certificates of appropriateness. We either grant them or we don't. I don't think that we can have them expire. I do agree, though, that this is an extremely difficult decision. It's funny how some of the hardest things we have to think of are totally reversible, impermanent privacy screens. These things that don't seem like they would arouse the complex decision-making required that this does. Because I certainly understand Mr. Pittman's perspective, but my heart absolutely goes out to the applicant, and the need here is clear, and reversibility is such a key aspect of historic preservation, and the fact that this is entirely reversible, and I think, to Mr. Pittman's point, inherently non-permanent just because of the nature of the materials and construction methods used. I mean, zip ties don't tend to last decades. It's tough. I do have a question for city staff. I appreciated the comment about the guidelines and our zoning ordinance not speaking to truly impermanent changes. So, this isn't a fence, this is a screen that's been applied to it. Zip ties, are they permanent fasteners that imbue this fence with some sort of level of permanency that puts us within our purview, or is this something that the board might not even have purview to review as an impermanent alteration?
So typically this would be something that is considered staff, but given the complaint, it was brought to the board for that reason. Because of the impermanence of it, that is why it would typically stay as staff, but because of the complaint, that is why we have it here still. Does that answer?
It does. My understanding is that we only review permanent alterations. If someone did an art exhibit in their front yard or something that was, impermanent, that's not typically within our purview. So I think that even if we were to consider it permanent, then we would have the question of, does it comply with the guidelines? But if the decision is, and the opinion is, that it's impermanent, then it's, again, not up to us. I sure wish the city attorney was here right now to give us a very formal opinion on whether or not this is appropriate for us to even take action on.
Does the guidelines, I couldn't find it in here, but do the guidelines specify what temporary means in this case?
I don't believe so.
Okay.
This is kind of an unusual case.
Yeah.
I'm looking here on 20.8 and 20.9, and this is in the section on fences and walls. And I think, we have guidelines about fences, but we really don't have guidelines about something like this that is temporary. I walked past both these properties. These are absolutely stunningly beautiful properties, both of them, both a credit to the neighborhood and to the historic district. Both these owners are doing wonderful jobs with their properties. From the street, it seems an unobtrusive, kind of fitting in privacy screen. And it would seem that though, being temporary, it might not fall under our purview.
Yeah, I think that the safest course of action for us here is probably to table the application and get a reading from, or an opinion from the city attorney as to whether or not this is in fact temporary. If we were to table the application, the privacy screen would remain as it currently is while we figure that out. And if the ultimate opinion of the city attorney is that it is temporary and not in our purview, then no further action would be needed by this board. It would only be if the city attorney decided that this is in fact a permanent installation that requires our approval, that it would come back to us. Without having clarity on that issue, I don't feel comfortable saying yay or nay at this juncture personally.
Well, if we agree it's a temporary structure, and then you gotta say, how temporary? I mean,
Well,
10 years?
Well, and so the issue there is that this board is not empowered to make a decision about what the definition of the word temporary is. We're only empowered to evaluate applications for their conformance with the guidelines. And so I think that that's where we need the city attorney to tell us whether or not this is in fact within our purview. And, you know, if it's impermanent, it's not. If it's permanent, it is, and we'll hear it again.
I'd also like to say on their defense that they are keeping the existing wrought iron fence. So even if it was a permanent structure, the next person who bought the property or later down the line, that wrought iron fence is still there and can always be re-exposed.
Yeah, the reversibility is, you know, a key consideration here, and the fact that no historic materials are being harmed today by us not resolving this question right now and getting this extra clarity. I think if there was substantial harm to materials or, you know, a building occurring here, we might feel more pressure to make a decision. But I think getting this one exactly right, especially given how well-founded Mr. Pittman's concerns were, and giving the heartbreaking extenuating circumstances for the applicant, I think that, you know, taking some time to do this correctly is warranted. Would anyone be willing to help me out with a motion to table this application pending review of its whether or not it falls within the purview of our board by the city attorney?
I move that we table the application being proposed by the owners at 317 West 3rd Street, pending deliberation by the Madison city attorney.
We have a second?
I second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? No. None heard.
Opposed.
Oh, we do have
Yes,
one opposed.
Yes. I don't think we're talking about this enough, but you guys you have the majority here.
Well, while we've made a motion to table, if you have anything else you'd like to add, I mean, be happy to hear it.
You know, I hate to say we're spending all this time on a plastic fence, you know, because we got a lot of stuff to go through here. And I never would have thought we'd get stopped on something like this, but you deal with something, it's a personal opinion of mine that in a historic district, when you fix your house up, it's not what somebody driving by in a car sees your house and says, "Oh, that's swell." The neighbors see what your house is. So, and I've dealt with this. We've had this several times before, where they already put the windows in. Remember that just happened up on a couple of blocks from here. They already took the good windows out and put plastic windows in, but right next door was a house that somebody had actually done it right. So when he looks out his window, he sees plastic fencing or he sees plastic windows. When they look out their window, they see a restored house. So I'm not a lawyer, so I don't know what kind of language to use on saying something like that, but you diminish someone else's effort by not doing the effort yourself. You follow what I'm saying? They get a free, nice view out their front window of a beautiful house. And whereas in this system, this situation of a couple months ago, the man that put the plastic windows looks out the windows and he sees a really nice house across the street. So, we're kind of into that territory for me. And I would say, if we would say it's temporary, because I don't think vinyl fencing is even permitted, we make allowances for it, and we could make an allowance here, but I would say also make an allowance that it can be there 1 year, 2 years, 3 years, but there's a end point to it where it's got to come out. You can't sell the house with a plastic, 5 years down the road, it's too big a house for you guys and you want to downsize. That fence has to go. Do you follow me?
Yeah, I think I agree with your concerns, and I think that there perhaps are more architecturally sensitive ways to achieve privacy in some of these settings. And again, though, I think what we're suffering from is a lack of a definition of what is temporary versus permanent, and
Probably is no definition of
I know,
temporary.
which is why the city attorney needs to look to probably Indiana case law to
Okay.
determine what that word means. If 5 years down the road, this vinyl fence is still up, then it really pushes the envelope of being temporary. So to me, this is a question that is bigger than this application, and it is indeed always interesting at these meetings as to what these small
never know what we
things
end up
are
talking
going
about.
to turn into big conversations. So thank you very much to the applicant and to Mr. Pittman for your patience as we try and figure this out. We understand both your situation and why you want the fence and your concerns, and we're going to try and handle this by the book, and we appreciate your patience in what we do. So, with that, I think we've officially tabled the application. Thank you very much.
Okay, next up, we have 1017 West First Street. This is a contributing structure built in the Italianate style in 1876, zoned historic district residential, and this is a request to build a 24 by 26 two-bay garage in line with the house with a second floor deck to attach to the house.
Good evening. My name is Lisa York, and I live at 1017 West First Street. And I'm at the next phase, and I'm approaching you all to see if you can agree with me that I can have a garage.
Okay. Are there any questions from the board for the applicant?
Well, I don't want to start off again with the same thing, of same tone that I had with the privacy fence. Can you go back to the other no, there you go. You got a neat house there. It is a gem. And I've been surprised, we've talked, we know her personally, that, wow, you're really tackling this thing and you're doing a great job. This changes the feel of the house. Although I can understand you need a garage, I totally agree with that. When I was looking through the paperwork that we get on this, I never really figured out how you, is there going to be you want to put a deck on top, right?
Yes, that's correct. My master bedroom is of those three windows there, and the purpose was to have a deck that connected the house to the garage. And not only is that going to give me living space outside to enjoy the river, but it'll also give me a fire egress, which I think is critical.
Are there any other questions for the applicant?
Well, okay, so we're looking at a little mini wall here. That's where the peak comes together like that, right?
The parapet wall was designed for privacy for my deck, but it also Ryan brought it to my attention that the height of the garage is minuscule compared to the height of the house.
Mhm.
So the parapet basically kind of brings everything kind of to scale, so to speak, proportional.
Yeah.
So that's the purpose of the parapet wall. Now, I originally had envisioned a crown mold there rather than the X's. I think that Ryan was just thinking outside the box as far as decor. But a crown molding would be very appealing to me as well, if it would be for you all.
Brenna, can you switch to the drawing that shows the pitch of the garage roof? Yeah, this one or the last one. At any point did you ever consider going with just a flat roof to the garage to really capture a larger second floor deck, or is the pitch absolutely necessary for some reason?
I originally had planned a flat deck all the way across, and there would not have been a breezeway. But from a cost standpoint, the membrane that you put on top that you can use the upper level was just crazy expensive. And so that is why I did the second version and used the breezeway instead to make, a nice area upstairs, but it's not huge. Ryan and I calculated the pitch there is 312 pitch.
That's helpful. Brenna, can you show the other? There we go.
And he is telling me that there's about 6 inches that is going to allow for flashing.
Okay. Thank you for that clarification and discussion.
So the parapet wall that we're seeing in the other picture is hiding, that's stretching the whole length of your structure here. And it's sort of hiding or giving you privacy for both your deck and then the part of the garage roof that slopes down that we saw in that other picture.
That's correct.
Why do you want that parapet wall to go back so far? You could just have had it giving you the privacy from the deck, right?
Yes, that would be an option.
I guess I'm having a little trouble with the permanent alteration of the back of your historic building. There are words in the guidelines, about a permanent alteration. I mean, there are a lot of buildings in town that had almost like a shed or a back portion attaching. I'm not sure that we've seen anything that looks like this yet in the historic district. Somebody can correct me, but this is kind of a new one a little bit for me.
I got the idea while I was jogging downtown. There's a home that, and forgive me, I can't remember the name of the street, but it's on the west side of the Lanier home. There is a 2-car garage that has, is basically crown molding that goes along the top, but it basically kind of mimics what Ryan has here as far as the garage door, and then the roof slants down going west. I'm at a loss at the name of the street. I showed you the picture. It wasn't, I think their front actually went all the way up. It wasn't a parapet wall, but it gives you a very similar look that what I'm getting, or what I'm asking for. But that's where I really got the idea.
Are there any other questions from the board for the applicant?
Well, the whole parapet, the wall that goes all the way out, that could be removed, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then you just have maybe a rail fence on this side.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe put slats in there, but they could be at an angle to give you a little more privacy, possibly.
Okay.
And we shouldn't be, I don't mean to be redesigning her project, but this changes the whole appearance of the house.
I would not be opposed to removing the parapet and using a form of a handrail.
And then there's 3 windows, as I remember, at the top. So you're going to take the windows out,
No,
and put
not
it,
all three, just the center one. And my plan was to, and that's not in this drawing, but my plan is to use that window that I'm taking out and putting it on that south wall. I plan to put a door, a 3-foot by 6-foot door in.
like French doors type of thing?
It would just be a single door from a cost standpoint. And it would be symmetrical where you have 2 windows on each side of a door that's all glass.
So it'll be 2 windows and 1 door.
1 door.
Okay.
And then I would reuse that window that I'm taking out of the house and putting it on that wall.
What wall? On
That
the,
wall.
on the garage wall?
Okay. Are there any more questions from the board for the applicant?
Brenna has got here on the staff recommendation, raise the roof pitch along the south wall. Can you kind of, just kind of comment on that, what you're thinking is there?
That had been a discussion that Lisa and I had about how steep the pitch was, and just raising it just so it wasn't quite so severe, given
You
the
want this
amount
to
of
be
water.
steeper?
No.
Less steep.
Less steep.
And how come?
Can't go less than 312. I wouldn't, with
For-
shingles
for-
anyway.
Water
Okay,
purposes.
so this is the plan, what we have here. Okay.
Yeah, Ryan is telling me that that's a 312 pitch.
And you wouldn't recommend less than 312?
Not with a shingle roof, no.
Oh,
You can't
okay.
by code. May I make a suggestion to you, Lisa? So when I looked at it, I think kind of the same concerns popped up with that parapet wall just not matching. My idea was, and I like your crown molding idea as well because that does tie into historical. What about raising the parapet wall even higher to match the roof line, and then do your crown molding like it's a gutter and match a brick facade on that parapet wall, so it almost looks like the whole building goes all the way across.
You mean, so you're talking about the
Go to the last picture, please.
west exposure of the house or of the building,
The parapet wall.
wherever it is? That side
Yeah.
would be
So-
brick here?
Taking the parapet wall, raising it up to where the gutters essentially are, and then her crown molding would basically match the gutter profile all the way across to the end of the parapet wall, and matching a brick facade on that parapet wall, essentially making it look like it's all part of that same building. Just my idea, not.
Well, before we start redesigning the applicant's project
Yes,
for,
not meaning to
which I
redesign.
think a lot of us want to discuss, I think we need to just clarify, are there any further questions from the board for the applicant? And then we need to hear if there's any public comment. No
The
more.
dentals that you have on there, are they actually 3-dimensional? You have them drawn, the black?
Well, again, Ryan threw that in as a kind of a design concept. It would be 3D if the dentals remain, but again, I'm not opposed to a crown molding too.
I look at the dentals as being out of size for the building and for other buildings that we see. They're generally pretty small.
I'm actually not opposed to Jed's idea about a handrail, and that we would just top the garage off appropriately, aesthetically, and just have a handrail. I would be opposed to, I would not be opposed to that if you guys do not like the parapet wall.
Any further questions from the board for the applicant? Thank you very much. Is there any public comment? Okay, hearing none, let's move on now to board deliberation. Bill, I agree with the last point that you just made, that those dentals are a bit out of scale. This is a very different design, different from anything that we've seen before, but that doesn't make it bad. And differentiation from the historic is one of the important tenets for the treatment of historic properties and within our guidelines. That being said, I think that there are some design challenges here, as were brought up during the questions to the applicant, that perhaps we should talk through in order to fully evaluate whether this complies with the guidelines.
I'm really struggling with this one. I would be more comfortable with a freestanding garage and maybe just a deck coming out from the master bedroom, not connecting the buildings. You know, with the historic district, you know, we're trying to preserve what's historic here and the historic look so we can continue to maintain our National Historic Landmark District status, which was very hard to get. So we're trying not to change the historic structures too much. I understand people really want to do what they want to do with their houses, but it's just really a struggle. So I'm having trouble with the connectedness of your design to the historic building.
I would like to see another continuation here where we table it for now. She gets together with Ryan and they work on another way of approaching this to get rid of the parapet, give her deck, and that I hate the idea of taking historic windows out, but she's going to reuse them. But it's also on the back of the house, so it's not like it'll be seen. Ah, okay. But I'd like to see this. Let her and Ryan work on this for another month and see what they could come up with.
Well, let's talk through the specific things that are we believe are not in compliance with the guidelines, and that would be the focus of any restudy if that is indeed the motion that we make. I think the one thing that everyone has identified as being different from other buildings in our district and maybe not compatible with the context are the combination of the scale of the parapet with the pitched roof in the rear. You know, I wish that I completely understand why the applicant wants to have a deck and have a great view. I think it's a fantastic improvement to this property, and I wish it was the entire, a giant deck that went all the way to the back of the garage, but I understand why they haven't gone that direction. That being said, I don't know if the parapet needs to extend the entire length of the garage. I think the condition of the parapet extending past the pitch, it is a little challenging. The detailing of the parapet is also, the dentils in particular, are out of scale, but I think the detail could use further study. But, I for one am fine with a parapet on the Craigmont side that is facing the street and a handrail on the interior. The parapet could be detailed and have sort of the accent and flair that I think the design is going for if at scale. I just don't know if it needs to run the whole length all the way down to the end of the garage, or if it could stop where the porch stops. That might make it a bit of a lighter addition to the historic building. To Happy's point, I think if the parapet was shorter, but those are again my particular design concerns or suggestions. How does the rest of the board feel?
I kind of feel like that if we took the whole parapet off, get rid of it. I don't think there is a privacy kind of an issue from the west side. There's nobody over there to be able to see what's going on. I just think if we got rid of that parapet wall, we'd be pretty much in compliance, but that's just me.
Yeah, no, I agree with you, Bill. I would be willing to vote in favor of what we have here if we can just take off the parapet and go to the railing.
I do like the design flair of the parapet, though. It made this cool and different. So, if there's a little bit of parapet instead of a handrail that has, some of the design elements, albeit the dental's restudied for scale, I think that would be fun.
When you say smaller, are you thinking maybe a shorter parapet wall?
No,
In height?
I'm looking to the length of it.
Oh, okay.
So yeah, that Brenna, if you want to go back, there you go. So the portion of the parapet wall that extends above the pitch of the garage roof is what I propose eliminating, and to just have the parapet actually where there is a deck. That is sort of a false building element that's being tossed up there that almost reads like a commercial marquee or parapet.
Yes, it does.
More so than something that we would find in the context of Madison's residential historic district. So that's what's giving me pause is, precisely.
I missed that. What did you say? Brenna?
If you look at the screen, right here.
Yep.
And I think that, the applicant still gets their garage, they get a deck with privacy if they want a solid parapet to Craigmont and all those great views, and I think, aside from this question that we've been noodling over of the parapet, that this is overall an excellent project that's going to add value to this historic home.
I could go with that.
I could as well.
So given that we've discussed what would essentially be a conditional approval pending the alteration of the design to remove the parapet as it is attached to the pitched garage roof, prior to doing that, I would just ask the applicant, is that a condition that is okay, or would you prefer a different sort of restudy and that opportunity, or would you be okay with what we've proposed?
I would be okay with the proposal, but I was not totally happy paying mention of just a standard garage. But, I really enjoy the privacy that would be there from that parapet along.
Which is completely understandable, and thank you for being amenable.
Thank you. This board really exists at the intersection between, public myth of the historic district and private ownership and ownership rights, so it's not popular what we do up here sometimes. The mayor, in his wisdom, has appointed a diversity of people up here with a diversity of opinion, so there might be some do not approves. Take it as just a vote of confidence in your amazingly wonderful historic house, and just that we're just balancing the needs of the historic district and private ownership. So it's kind of a struggle, but thank you.
I think I'd also be remiss if I didn't say something positive about our fellow board member and how nice it is to get a decent set of drawings. And an original thought. Those are contrary to what the public might believe. Innovative architecture and different ideas are very much welcome, and had we not had a lot of those throughout our history, we wouldn't have such a cool town. Well, I might go ahead, even though it's somewhat unconventional for the chair to make a motion, but since I was sort of the one who was articulating it earlier, I'll go ahead and do it this time. I make a motion to approve on the condition that the parapet be removed from the length of the garage itself, which does not include the deck.
I'll second.
So we've got a motion and a second.
Do we want to roll call this
I
one?
think we should roll call this one.
Okay. Chris Cody,
Approve.
Happy Smith,
Do not approve.
Bill Jewell,
Approve.
Jared Anderson,
Approve.
Jed Skillman.
Approve.
Thank you very much. All right, on with the next, Brenna.
All right, next up is 745 West 3rd Street. This is a contributing structure in the folk Victorian style built in 1890. It is zoned Historic District Residential, and this is a request to open the enclosed windows on the back porch.
Thank you.
Thank you. Yes, we're looking at this back porch is not original to the house. The foundation is not the same. There's actually a window inside between the basement and the bottom of the porch here. The porch is basically an interstitial space to the house itself. Originally, not originally, but I guess when they built this porch, I believe they had windows there, but you can see that they've covered them up now with the vinyl siding. We're looking at adding 4 windows there. And what we'd like to do is use some repurposed materials. These are 22-inch by, I believe, 7 foot. And they actually have safety glass in them, so there's no issue as far as, being too close to the floor. It's probably a lot safer than a lot of the other windows that we have currently in the town that are that long. So I actually have a sample of it there. You can't tell, but it has like the chicken wire. It's laminated, it has the chicken wire in between it. It's not conditioned in any way. It's not heated or cooled. It's just we want to open that back up so it looks better. And we also want to replace we're looking at replacing the door. That's just a metal door from the the 80s, insulated metal door, and rebuild the steps going up to it. In addition to that, we are going to finish off with a cement board, either Hardy or something. Menards doesn't carry Hardy; they have another brand. But we're looking at continuing the horizontal siding when we pull that off and replace it. It's currently aluminum siding on it.
Do you have 4 of them that are alike?
4 of them?
Yeah.
Yes, yeah, they're 4 exactly the same size. I actually have 5 of them, but I can only fit 4 in there.
Are you going to be restoring them?
Yes.
Will the windows be openable?
No.
So they're not going to be like casement and swing out?
No, not at all. They're just a fixed pane windows, yeah. They're actually metal clad wood.
That's a metal clad?
Yes. Doesn't look like it from there.
Yeah. Is the metal on the other side?
Yes.
Am I missing?
Sides.
Yeah, I'm missing something.
Both sides.
Okay.
So you're going to put 4 of those window doors on the back. Okay.
Yes. And that's just to open that up because it's it's really dark in there now. The porch itself is about 5 foot deep, so we're just looking for a place to sit on the back porch and be able to have it opened up to the backyard there.
Since it's not the original historic building itself, we have much more leniency, much more flexibility. So
Right.
it seems like a nice improvement.
Yeah, I don't know when it was added. It definitely was poured concrete on the footers, and then they built on top of that. Like I said, and the only reason I knew that was, you have a window right now. There's a window between the porch underneath it and the house itself, which obviously was covered up when they put the porch on.
Mr. Hayden, you must be pretty excited about this. This is kind of nice to use existing material and repurpose.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, and obviously since it's not heated or cooled, the energy factor's not an issue with it.
Are there any other questions for the applicant? Thank you. Is there any public comment?
Brenda, that's an old picture you have of our house, so you don't have a newer one?
Yeah, our survey pictures have not been updated yet.
Well, let's move on to board deliberation. I agree with what everyone said. I think this is a fantastic project. It's wonderful to see, and I'd be ready to entertain a motion.
I move the Madison Historic District Board of Review approve the porch modifications with the repurposed windows at 745 West 3rd Street as proposed by the applicant.
I will second that motion.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Hearing none. Thank you.
Congratulations.
I'm sorry, I don't know why that address is incorrect. That is incorrect. Our next one is 215 West Main Street. Let's see. Skip all the way to the end. Okay. This is a contributing and individually eligible structure in the Federal and Italianate styles, built in 1830, zoned Central Business District, and this request is to build an addition to accommodate extra kitchen space for a bakery.
Hello, my name is Gabriella Bogdan, and I bought 215 West Main a couple of months ago, and with the intent of using the space as a bakery. I think it's maybe a little bit small to see, but the yellow outline is the current footprint, and there is at the front of Main Street, the building, my building touches the next building next to it, 0 lot line. But then for the remainder of the lot, it is a tiny little alleyway that is grass. And there is a gate, or was a gate there. So we are in the process of uncovering some of the natural, original materials underneath the exterior, and working on some interior renovations as well. And so we do plan to put the gate back, but the red slashes are sort of the extension. So there is a non-original HVAC building, kind of part of that red space right now, that had the structure of that HVAC building had some roof and structural damage, so it needs to be replaced anyway. The actual HVAC unit itself needs to be replaced as well. So rather than just replacing just the few square feet, we would like to extend partway through the alley so that I can add a little bit more space to accommodate the future use of the building. And then, as I mentioned, we are going to rebuild the gate, and that addition actually will not be visible from any views.
Thank you very much. Are there any questions for the applicant from the board?
Glad to hear a bakery's coming in. So the building that's yellow, all the way to the back, is that all going to be bakery space?
It is not all going to be bakery space. There is going to be a short-term rental in the back, which has been approved through zoning already.
Okay.
I have a question for staff. So had they built the gate first, would this be publicly viewable from the public right away? No. So it wouldn't even be in our purview had they done the gate first?
Yes.
And when the gate's done, it won't be in our purview again?
Yes.
Okay.
We're kind of in an interesting window here.
Well, that's a helpful clarification. I'll just say to the applicant, congratulations on buying a wonderful historic building.
I'm very excited about the project.
The back of it looks like it's air conditioned already pretty well along that where it's completely open to your building, it looks like. So.
Yes.
Are there any other questions from the board for the applicant? Thank you. Is there any public comment? Let's move on to board Oh, we do have a public comment.
My name is Jackie Fraser, and I work at DeTillo's. My question is, are you going back to the end of the driveway?
No, do you see
Or where's the gate?
the gate is gonna go exactly where it is now, at the back of the structure. Can you see that? She drew it up a little bit. So the old gate that was there needed to be removed because it was falling down. So we're just going to put the new gate back where the old gate was.
My only concern is, are we gonna be able to get our trucks out of there?
Should be no change.
There's no change in that.
Not at all. We're not extending the building at all.
That's what I want.
Thank you. Is there any other public comment? Well, thank you to the applicant for answering that question, resolving that. Moving on to board deliberation. This is minimally within our purview for a very temporary amount of time, and it's going to enable a business on Main Street. So I, for one, am in complete support of this.
I feel the same way.
100%.
I agree.
I agree. I also just want to say I really appreciate the thoughtfulness in your description of what you're doing. We've noticed that you exposed the wood on the side that faces the comfort station, and here you say you were going to be attempting to restore that and, patch where you can. Thank you so much for doing that. A lot of people in town are covering up the old wood siding, and that you're appreciating it and keeping it. That's just a wonderful thing. Thank you so much for that, and the other careful things you're doing with this really old 1830 building. It's just a fabulous building, so congratulations.
I'm sure you'll be seeing me again when we get to more of the project, but.
Well, would someone like to make a motion?
I would. I move that the Madison HDBR accept the application from Gabriella Bogdan at 215 West Main for an addition onto the back of the building for a bakery.
Do you have a
I
second?
second.
All right. All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Hearing none. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, next is 117 West Main Street. This is another contributing and individually eligible structure in the Federal and Italianate style built in 1850, Zone Central Business District. And this is a request to add a new door on the west facade to provide proper ADA compliant entrance to the office.
Good evening, I'm Chad Lewis. I purchased 117 West Main Street about a year and a half ago. It's at the opposite block here of City Hall. It has operated in Edward Jones Financial Services office for over 45 years. And Edward Jones as a corporation would not renew the lease unless we made the building ADA compliant for clients and the public. So we have a 4-inch step into the building. We did not want to put a ramp on Main Street as there's no other ramps out on Main Street, so we did not want to do that. So our alternative was to build a new door on the west side of the building and have a small ramp that would make this ADA compliant.
Thank you. Does the board have any questions for the applicant?
Is Edward Jones is out of the building now? They're gone, right?
No, we're currently remodeling to make it ADA compliant so we can stay. We service a lot of families that live downtown and would like to remain downtown. Edward Jones would not let us stay there if we did not make it ADA compliant. So we're in the process of trying to do so.
Where would the ramp go?
Where?
Where is it, interior of the door? Do you open the door and then go up a ramp? Is that it, or
No, it would be on the sidewalk.
on the sidewalk
To
there?
the west, yeah.
So you'd come out, what, about 3 feet with your ramp, about that kind of width for wheelchair access?
ADA compliant needs to be a 4-foot ramp.
4.
4 foot wide.
Has to be 4 feet wide.
How, you said that you looked into putting it right on Main Street, or you didn't want to put it on Main Street because there's no other ramps. Did you look into what it would have looked like on Main Street, like how far out it would have had to come? Like how far extended onto the Main Street sidewalk?
Like how wide or how long?
How long?
We did look at it.
Yeah, they actually, I think Edward Jones looked at that prior to me being involved, but basically your land.
Can you state your name for the record, just so we have?
Brian Martin, 104 Sheeran Street. It has to do with, with your egress and direction of travel. So that landing outside of the door has to be 5 foot by 5 foot clear. It's a 5 foot diameter circle for a wheelchair movement. It's the landing is different than the actual ramp. The ramp can be smaller. The ramp could be down to almost 36 inches between handrails, but it would be a substantial impact on that sidewalk. 5 foot landing plus additional handrail around because you can't have that obstruction. So it would be a tremendous impact on Main Street for sure.
So you're saying 5 feet kind of onto the sidewalk of Main Street?
Oh, yes,
5 feet?
5 feet plus. 'Cause you have
Plus,
that 5
and then
foot
you have a
plus
hand,
handrail.
then you have, because I was looking at the Girls Inc. building, and that one, is a pretty substantial structure. That is a beautiful brick wall you're cutting into. I know you're already aware of this. I'm not telling you anything. And it's not been altered in any way. A lot of our brick walls have had previous doors and windows, but this one's just a pristine, beautiful brick wall, so that's a painful thing. So Edward Jones made this conditional upon their staying. They are going if we don't make it ADA compliant. Is that correct?
Well, yeah, I mean, I think certainly the compliance to any ADA responsibility is important for our city, just as we grow, we grow regardless.
Yeah.
But no, I really think it's I mean, call it the lesser of two evils. I mean, I think we can be accommodating as best as we can. And again, you know, location is specific to the floor plan on the inside, you know, because again, the ADA responsibility is not just getting someone in the door, but it's also throughout the entire office. And so that front reception area needs, you know, seating and needs desk space that can accommodate, you know, in all capacities. So again, it's really kind of dictated just based on ADA compliance through and through.
That's why the door is where it is?
Yes.
Up towards the front? Okay, okay.
Yeah.
Sounds like a lot of thought has gone into this, and you have really thoroughly explored the option that wouldn't have cut into the brick wall, so I appreciate that. Thank you.
Well, and also working with Tony Steinhardt and Chris Hale on modifying the sidewalk, because the Edward Jones office had sent this design, but extending the ramp down the sidewalk, which would have, again, been quite an obstruction of sorts, you know, visual if nothing else. So that sidewalk is in terrible shape, the curb is in terrible shape. So we've got our initial approval to be able to modify that, technically what you'd call a 5-foot landing out that door, and then still be compliant within the grade on the sidewalk too. Basically, there'll be next to nothing there as far as, you know, the sidewalk grade for the most part to be compliant with ADA responsibility, but it won't be an extended version of a ramp, which is what was originally proposed anyway. So
Could you put a ramp inside? Just go in this door and start up?
It's all, it affects the floor space. You know, I mean, what comes up time and again on the historic board is limited capacity on any, you know, these narrow lots. It's the same concept in there as far as his business. It affects the use of that space so much inside that, and again, they looked at that on the first entry door. Yeah.
We did look at that.
How much do you have to rise up from the street, or
It's
from the
4
sidewalk
inches,
level?
about 4 inches.
4 inches?
But it has to do with so travel is important as far as how you come into it. You know, you go through a door. You have to have a landing space on the outside. You know, your ramp is specific to your slab. You have to have a landing space on the inside. So it really takes up a lot more room than just getting through the door.
We had a question here before this board 4 or 5 months ago, historic building, and involved significant alteration of a gem of a historic building for ADA compliance. And after it passed, I went home and did a search on ADA compliance for historic buildings, which this one is. There are 7 clauses that, now, of course, that's federal, that's not Edward Jones. Edward Jones wants this in. You're not doing this because of federal ADA requirements, because there are several classifications of I think it was 7 ADA requirements that you wouldn't have to do this. So first off, to be clear, this is strictly for Edward Jones, right? Doesn't have anything to do with anybody coming out of Washington, D.C., because this building is not ADA requirement now, and ADA has been around for over 30 years. So this is all directed from up the corporate ladder, correct?
Chad, would you mind if I rephrased your question? Because I had the same one, but wanted to pose it a little bit more directly. Have there been any conversations with Edward Jones about the fact that there are ADA waivers available for historic buildings and that you do not need to comply with the ADA in a building like this?
Thank you, Chris.
Yes, there have been discussions, and they wanted ADA compliant.
I understand that sometimes that can be a condition of your insurance policy, so there are other legitimate considerations, but I really appreciate you bringing that up, Jed,
Well,
because ADA waivers are such an important tool in communities like ours to allow these historic buildings to remain in service without having to chop them all up to put ramps and all this other stuff everywhere. 'Cause sometimes you just can't. You know,
Okay.
you've got a chance here to make it work, but
Point
sometimes you
number
just can't.
two, because I looked at it, and it's about a 4-foot step up to get in the front door.
4 inches.
4 inches. That whole front of the building is not original. That was put on sometime in the 70s or 80s. So we got some room to work here. And you also are redesigning the whole inside of the store anyways, right? Yes,
It's not a
no?
complete, it's a modification of hallway and
Okay.
bathroom for accessibility reasons.
Okay. How about removing the stone sill that you have to go up, and you put the ramp in there, and you either put a door, or recess the door somewhat like they do at the, what's the, Gallery 21.
I think we can talk about this during the board deliberation about design changes we might be interested in. I don't want to jump the gun on those conversations. Does anyone have any questions for the applicant?
I have a question for city staff. So, is the street department going to widen that sidewalk?
I don't believe they have the full plans for what they're doing there yet.
Okay.
That has been a discussion, but I don't know if that has been finalized.
So I guess, just to clarify, what is the actual width of the ramp that will be placed there?
So technically, there's really no ramp per se. It's the landing is the area of major concern as far as how much space it takes up. So technically, a flat ramp out of that doorway, centered on that doorway, is the first step, and then transitioning grade back to proper slope to the sidewalk, which we have some modification we can do on the brick pavers. But again, Chris and Tony both have been on site a couple different times discussing when basically we can kind of lead that charge as far as get our landing and our proper slope in, and then all the sidewalk kind of comes back to that. Because again, the sidewalk is in terrible shape to the south, which is really probably the major issue of transition. Otherwise, we'll be compliant with everything else around it, to the west and to the north.
Okay.
Thank you. Are there any other questions from the board?
I think the comment about trying to go in the front, you also have to remember the requirement of width of your doorway. You not only have the door, but you also have clearance on the inside of the door. And even though you say that's not an original storefront, which I understand, there's still a steel and or cast column just inside to the right of that door that's supporting that cast lintel.
Okay.
It's still probably a carryover from the original.
Okay.
So that's a tremendous modification of making that opening compliant. Because you can't, again, if you walk in that door, within inches, there's a cast column to your right, and then there's a sidewall to your left, and you need much more clearance than that to make that passable. So
Thank you.
look into that.
You can't widen that door because of that cast iron support.
One of the reasons, yes.
Okay.
Clearance on the sidewall coming to the left is also another reason. Yeah. Multiple reasons. And again, transition that ramp inside, it's how it affects, it's a small office to begin with, so how it affects the floor space in there is also just, it just doesn't work very well.
Thank you for those clarifications. Are there any additional questions from the board? Is there any public comment? All right, thank you. We'll move on to board deliberation. I think it's unfortunate that the long-term tenant is unwilling to seek just an ADA waiver here, but they are a very long-term tenant. We do want to keep our businesses on Main Street, and I think that this is a reasonable accommodation. I, for one, just to comment on the conversation that sort of arose, would never support a ramp on Main Street. I see the streetscape of Main Street as sacrosanct and one of the most important aspects of our historic district. So, if this was a mid-block building, I think I'd be telling them to do it in the rear. I think they're fortunate that they happen to be at the end and can just do it on the side. And I don't see how they could accomplish the goal that they have any other way.
I agree with everything you're saying, Chris. I still am just slightly concerned about digging into the side of the building, solely because the city did a study in 2022 that specified that this building is one of only 134 significant structures in the historic district, and that was approved on by city council and the mayor's office and whatnot. It does concern me doing new openings just because we typically are not supposed to do that on a building that is on the same list at, believe it or not, as the Lanier, the Shrewsbury Wendell, all of these other important properties. But I also understand that we're kind of in a tough spot here, because obviously we don't want Edward Jones to leave downtown. So that's kind of where I'm torn.
Yeah, I think just to be clear, we're not evaluating this in any way, shape, or form based on our desire to not have or to have Edward Jones on our main street. This is purely about the building and whether this complies with the guidelines. And you are correct that the guidelines generally frown upon the creation of new openings, but they are just guidelines.
I'm with Jared on this. Really don't want to put a new opening in such a beautiful brick wall, but I do like the idea that we're going to have almost the best possible scenario for creating an ADA compliant entrance. We have one of the most wonderful, historically sensitive contractors in town working the project in Brian Martin. We have a long-term tenant. I think there's worthy goals here, and maybe it's a good place for an exception. But yeah, I really hate busting into that brick wall.
I can't support this. So I think discussion with upper management of Edward Jones, letting them know it's a historic building. What did we say? 135 of these of the top tier buildings of the couple thousand that we have in downtown Madison. And they have been there so long. There had to have been some precipitating incident somewhere for them to come make this decision. What happened? Why did this happen? Unless it's just a corporate policy, in which case they can be flexible too.
Yeah, we have to rely upon the representation of the applicant that they did do what they could to try and have Edward Jones make an exception from their corporate policy. And I very much appreciated their response to that specific question that we had. I don't think it's within our power to compel a applicant to attempt to address something that with their tenants, with the tenants' needs and the tenants' policies. I think all that we're able to look at are the physical alterations, which you have the creation of a new opening, which is not desirable. You have ADA compliance for this building, which is desirable, although perhaps unnecessary. It's a tough call, and obviously I think there's going to be a split vote here. Would anyone like to make a motion one way or the other?
I move that the Madison Historic District Board of Review approve the ADA modification at 117 West Main Street as proposed by the owner and by the contractor here.
We have a motion. We have a second.
I second the motion.
And let's do a roll call vote. Brenna?
Chris Cody,
Approve.
Happy Smith,
Approve.
Bill Jewell,
Approve.
Jared Anderson,
approve.
Jed Skillman.
No.
Well, thank you very much, and just also want to note to my fellow board members, I thought that was a really good conversation about a very difficult application for in a lot of ways. We've had some tough ones tonight, guys. Okay, Brenna?
Okay, our last application tonight is 1020 East First Street. This is currently an empty lot. It is zoned Historic District Residential, and this request is to build a new residential structure on this vacant lot.
Thank you. Is the applicant here?
Jerry Briner.
My name is Ed Demery. Owner, builder.
Good evening, gentlemen. Is there anything you'd like to tell us about your project?
It's similar to the other homes in the location as far as footprint. We have the basement with stone. For the wood siding, which is a tongue and groove, and it's manufactured locally by its company. He has built somewhere in the neighborhood of 200 homes. It's sticked up like any other home. It's just got this really nice eastern pine that is horizontally laid. And it holds up very well. It's going to be treated. And that, yeah, asphalt shingles. This would be the side looking toward the river. It's very similar to the other layouts and back decks and stuff.
Thank you. Are there any questions from the board?
Could you describe the siding a little bit better? I'm still a little fuzzy on that.
The siding is an eastern white pine, and it's laid horizontally with a male and female tongue and groove engagement. It's kind of an overall look.
Okay. The corners, kind of hard to tell there. Are you log-style corners, overlap kind of?
That is correct, dovetail style.
That could be done either way. You know, I had two options, and I thought it was unique. It stands out. It looks
So are the boards kind of rounded, like a log cabin look?
No, ma'am, they are horizontal, similar to your other architecture, like the previous picture you showed for the bakery. It's a horizontal and it's a flat siding.
You don't have a photograph.
We have a full-size print of this. I mean, it's out in the car.
Okay, well, maybe, let's see how it goes here, so, yeah, okay.
Are there any other questions from board members for the applicant? Thank you. Is there any public comment? Hearing none, we'll move on to the board deliberation. I had the same question. I think one of the sheets actually says log cabin on it, so I was wondering about the profile of that siding. I'm relieved to hear that it's a flat profile, and it sounds like a high-quality plan for the siding.
Yeah, the inside's not going to...
I'm sorry, we've got board deliberation now, so we gotta, we might ask you another question, but how does everyone else feel?
So everybody loves downtown Madison, and I think one of the reasons we like it because it has this cohesiveness. It was built, between 1830 and 1870, and we got like the same house repeated all over the place. So there's this real continuity, and when you put something in that doesn't go with everything around it, it kind of has a jarring effect. So that's the only thing I'm worried about here. You have really a bunch of houses over there that look very similar. They're board and batten, white painted with faux veneer, like stone or brick on the lower story, which I understand you are having here, and then the top. But every building over there is sort of wide board plank siding, doesn't have the corner detailing. There it is right there, the board and batten look. So they're all the same over there. So then if you build one that looks different, then everybody wants their house to look different. I do understand that. But if you build one thing that looks different in a whole cluster of, I think it's about 6 or 7 or 8 houses now over there, it's going to kind of stand out. I guess it can stand out good, or it can maybe stand out like, whoa, what's that? Right, so that's maybe a concern here, is the compatibility and the sort of a fabric over there of things that fit in with each other.
Well, Happy, I think you're exactly right about a new design typology emerging over on this far east side of town, but I do have to take issue with one thing that you said about Madison being built between 1830 and the 1870s. I live in a 1909 house that I love. There are many
Most
different
of Madison.
types of buildings in Madison. That's one of the strengths of our historic district, is its diversity. And I, for one, am always a fan of any attempt to make something special and to make it different and to put in a little bit of extra effort towards that end.
There are a number of these homes throughout the.
I'm sorry, we're just doing the board deliberation. You've already made your case, sir, and you've done it, in my mind, you've done it well, but I think we need to keep this to the board. Does anyone have any other comments? And if not, would anyone like to make a motion?
I'm still concerned about the siding.
What are your concerns? I'd love to hear.
Well, as far as I know, we have one log house in town, and it's over on Presbyterian over here, and it's an old style, like you would see anywhere in the out in the country, built 150 years ago. I think that we need to be along the lines of what the other buildings are looking at, something similar to that. Not really have something stand out.
It's not a log home.
Right.
It's studded up.
I'm sorry, again, we gotta talk right now. We will directly ask you a question, if necessary. So having just asked the gentleman to refrain, I was gonna make the exact same point that he just did, that I think that this is now flat tongue and groove siding as opposed to anything resembling a log. I came in very worried about it potentially having a rounder profile and reading like a log cabin. But you know materials better than I think any of us up here, Bill. So if you have concerns, is it the fact that it would just be, what about the siding concerns you, knowing that it's a flat
My main
profile?
concern would be corners. When you have log siding, you usually have an overlap, kind of a, alternate overlap. If you're gonna have straight corners on it, I can go with that. I don't have a problem. I just don't want to see a log cabin, a fake log cabin look in that house. Okay? But I don't, after looking at your siding a little bit more, I don't think that would give that impression.
So I'll ask the applicant to clarify the corners. You said you could do it in one way where they would sort of, where they, would you mind responding to Board Member Jewell's concern about the corners? And I know you represented that there were two different ways that you could potentially even do them.
Yeah, when we manufacture the corners, we can do it. We've done 10 of these in Jefferson County recently, none in downtown, obviously. So we can not put the dovetail block, as you will, on the corner to appease that, and just actually have the sidings come together with a traditional, like what you saw in your previous picture, a 1x6 trim corner over those. If that's what that will be up to. We can go either way.
Can you give me an address of one of the ones you've done in Jefferson County?
I have a whole list.
Just one, I'm just trying to pull up a picture on my phone.
Pull up a picture of Larry and Rita Andrus on Little Cedar. Don't have the address memorized.
Oh, okay. Well, okay.
Bill, would that alteration of the plan for the corners help cure some of your concerns?
That would, that would really help a lot.
Would you care to maybe offer a motion with that concern articulated?
Sure enough. I would like to move that the Madison Historic District Board of Review approve your plan for the house as it stands with more traditional corners, not a log overlap corner.
As described by the applicant.
As described by the applicant, excuse me.
Do we have a second for that motion?
I'll second that.
I think we should do another roll call vote here. Brenna?
Chris Cody,
Approve?
Happy Smith,
Approve.
Bill Jewell,
Approve.
Jared Anderson,
Approved.
Jed Skillman.
Approve.
Thank you, gentlemen, for talking that through with us and working
Thank
through
you
it.
for your time.
Okay, so now we move on to the new old business portion of the meeting. Do we have any old business that we should discuss?
We do not.
Is there any new business that we should discuss?
Not that I'm aware of, unless, I don't think so.
I'll also make an offer to the public. Is there anything that the public would like to bring to the board's attention? Thank you very much.
Okay, then we will move real quick into staff report. So this month, we've had a couple. Couple signs, several fences, one walkway, and some doors and shutters. And then for our annual review, all of the projects have been completed.
Well, thank you very much, Brenna. Is there any other business that anyone on the board would like to address? If not, entertain a motion to adjourn.
I move that we adjourn.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Hearing none. Any opposed, we'll leave you here.